chill. Temperature in the low 50s this afternoon, and we are underway in Central Jersey. These Princeton Tigers 11-1-2, dominated last week up in New Haven, defeated Yale 4-0. It's going to be such an energy around this building. You can hear it already on the near side here.
Yeah, it's senior day, and senior day is always a very emotional game, you know, for the home squad. But why don't we switch our attention to a couple of freshmen, and we want to talk about this heralded defense that Princeton has 4 goals against for the entire season. But here's the mind-blowing stat, John. They have not surrendered a goal in the run of play the entire season. And their captain and their vocal leader, Herman Watch player, watch list, Giovanni Fravellini Whitchurch, out for the last 3 games, but he's been filled in very capably with freshman Frederick Sajek. And it's next man up, and they haven't missed a beat. This young man is from Germany. What we do know about German players in general, they're very good technically, and they're cool customers. And he has just stepped in. I've been really impressed with how he's been able to just step in and fill in for the senior captain.
Sajak wears number 26 for the Tigers, an early foul against Dartmouth. Jasinski will try to sustain a little bit of possession in that front third for the Princeton Tigers. They've been so good here at home the last couple of years. Opportunity already. We're going to have chance after chance after chance. This is going to be the kind of game you can't take your eyes off.
Well, yeah, Princeton's going to come out on the front foot, and yes, we see Dartmouth, but watch, they're going to be very organized. They're going to be playing in a couple of midfield blocks in a 4-4-2 formation. As I said, they're very physically strong in the midfield. Princeton's going to have to do what they usually do and win a lot of these 50-50 balls. Keep an eye on Jackson Martin, the freshman from California. As we see a turnover here.
We're talking to Bo Shawnee, head coach for Dartmouth, and he's talking about how Princeton creates their own chances, that he felt like his group would really have to limit their own mistakes today.
Yeah, 100% agree with you on that one, John. You know, and again, as we see Princeton set up here defensively, everybody back in behind the ball, everybody, they're very well organized. And then the freshman Jackson Martin that we talk about, they like to defend high upfield. He comes out and just look at the effort that he's giving right there. He really goes after and sets the tone up front for that press.
You talk about forwards sort of attacking and playing that press like that. Princeton's able to do that because of the depth they've developed in the last couple of years here. Expecting Jim Barlow's group to go something like 16 to 18 deep today. Especially with seniors on senior day, you want to make sure all 11 seniors get an opportunity to play for the final time at home during the regular season. Nothing there. And Dartmouth holds possession around the midfield line.
Yeah, and that's going to be a key. That's going to be a key for Dartmouth as well, because they don't go as deep as Princeton. Princeton has amazing depth. They bring in midfielders off the bench, and they don't really miss a beat.
A touch out of bounds off of Princeton, and an early corner for Dartmouth.
Big moment here for the Tigers, getting away with, because, again, haven't surrendered a goal from the run of play. The two goals that they've surrendered have been from corner kicks. Dartmouth's got some big bodies up front.
This is Lolka lining it up from the corner. With the left. Danger still on here. Lolka, another service. Wilson got a touch on it. That's an easy one for Samuels. It's been tested often. One of the top keepers in the nation, Andrew Samuels, in goal for Princeton.
Samuels has been tremendous for Princeton so far. He does so many things well. He's a really great leader. He stepped in, and since he stepped in to take over the starting role, he's been 17-4-3 in the Tiger uniform, led them to an Ivy League championship, and one of the lowest goals against average in the country.
Samuel's a 4-time Ivy League Defensive Player of the Week this year.
Yeah, he's got the ability, he's got the potential to play at the next level. He's 6'5". He's got a great set position and can really spread quickly.
Whistle against Dartmouth. You talk about the potential professional prospects for Samuels. What are you seeing specifically out of his game?
Well, there's a couple of things, John. He's really good at handling crosses in a crowd. He has the ability to make the quick reaction save, and he has the ability to make those game-changing saves, as in case against Harvard, where he stopped the penalty kick, where he was leaning the wrong way, and he also stopped a free kick where he was at full stretch. His distribution needs to improve a little bit, but he's got another year to work on that.
Ichiera kept it in play, but there's nobody home on the backside. Beckwith able to chase it down for Princeton. Beckwith turned down the service. Ichiera starting to see some of that physicality pick up. That ball's in front, and it's saved in net by Dellis.
Yeah, you mentioned talk about players that are capable of playing at the next level. And again, we just see Princeton is able to score a lot of goals this year because they get people into the box. And that's one of the keys to scoring goals, is that you've got to get numbers. You've got to get people, because even if there's a player that's in the box that does not score, they occupy the attention of a defender.
There's Jasinski with that touch on the potential early opportunity for Princeton.
You mentioned Ichiera a few minutes back as a guy that's also capable, drafted by DC United in the second round. There's so many things that he does well, but his ability to get behind defenders with his speed makes him such a dangerous asset. He's able to score in the box, and he's able to score via the head.
A whistle here against Dartmouth in the midfield. For the Princeton Tigers, Jim Barlow, 2024 Ivy League Tournament champion, says this group of seniors is probably the biggest group he's ever had, 11 of them. He's just been so impressed across the board. It's one of the most connected groups he's ever had.
Jimmy and his staff have done an amazing job with this team.
A whistle as Spicer tried to get free. This will go against Dartmouth. Oh, Shawnee asking the question, what was that whistle against his team?
Yeah, Bo's done a great job with this team this year. He's lost 2 of his leading scorers, 80% of his goals from last year. He's done a really good job in bringing this team to where they are right now, battling for a place in the Ivy League playoffs. And this week we did find out where he got the nickname Bo.
A throw coming for Dartmouth in front of their bench.
And you talk about the 2 coaches, you would be hard-pressed to find 2 guys that are more a combination of respected and liked more than Jim Barlow and Bo Shawnee. They're just 2 class guys.
Of course, Jim Barlow with a long-time connection to USA Soccer, as you did, Charlie, at one time. These guys working together on the under-15 group.
Yeah, we also found out that Bo and Jim Barlow played against each other in 1990 when Bo played for Division II powerhouse Southern Connecticut.
The Owls.
And Bo's first game as an Ivy League coach in 2018 was a pretty wild one that both coaches commented on. Dartmouth took a 2-0 lead. They took a red card in the first half. Princeton battled back, tied the game at 2-2. It ended at 2-2. And after the game, Bo just says that was a pretty wild one, and they both remember Barlow's response was, "Welcome to the Ivy League." And these two teams have had some really heated battles in the last couple of years.
Dartmouth has really been tested against some of the nation's best. Scored a couple of goals at Vermont. Perhaps an opportunity here for Princeton. A little bit of open space on the near side. That's Martin doubled. And you see some of the physicality we're going to see all of this afternoon. Jackson Martin taking on two here. And
Martin was a lightly recruited player, and what the Princeton staff liked about him is that they liked his ability to run. The other thing that goes unnoticed is that he is a center forward, as a guy that's he's gonna stay into the box. He's gonna get you a couple of dirty goals once in a while.
Chase down on the backside. That's Bardia Harmozy. Another important development for Princeton this year. Harmozy and his production. Well, this Tigers defense staunch already. Just no breathing room for Dartmouth when they're on it in the forward third.
Yeah, Harmozy has really taken his defensive responsibilities to another level, and he's taken it more serious this year. Getting back to Martin, he's a guy that's going to stay in the box with these guys. It's going to chase really hard. But what a lot of people don't understand or recognize is that by him playing in that number 9 position, that center forward position, it's also allowed Daniel Idicheria to play either out on the right flank, or the left flank, where he's much more dangerous. The player development that we had talked about with these seniors and even some of the underclassmen under this current staff has been very good. Some of these guys, you look at Fravellini, Whitchurch, you look at Jack Jasinski, have come so far in their development.
Numbers ahead for the Tigers. And Dellis takes care of it. Well, I guess, from Dartmouth's perspective, they wanted to get some kind of confidence going early on in this one. I guess, it's this overall question that I'm going to keep asking you today about. What do they have to do offensively? How do they maintain possession against this Princeton defense?
Yeah, they have a couple of guys out wide, particularly James Wilson out on the right flank that can get balls in. Hudson Kohler as a right back can service balls into the box, and with Douglas Arvahar, he's able to get on the end of it. But again, missing Trenton Blake, 6 goals, 5 assists from last year, and Vasilos Miras, 6 goals and 2 assists from last year. That's a big chunk of their scoring, John. And again, they're a team that can press up high, but I would not say that's their forte. Arvahar is not as a center forward is not the speediest guy that can get initial pressure onto the ball. A team that's only scored 15 goals so far, they're going to have to keep this game at a low-scoring rate. Well, we see it's getting feisty.
Yeah,
here.
the energy is really picking up, especially when play is right in front of the benches. That one out of play. Dartmouth throw coming around midfield. Right around 15 minutes gone in this first half.
Well, we see the game hasn't had a lot of flow so far, and to be honest, we didn't. If you watch a lot of film of both of these teams, there hasn't been a lot of flow, and Princeton is a team that again that's going to defend you high up the field. They're going to strike quickly. They're going to defend extremely well. Dartmouth, on the other hand, is a team that likes to defend you narrow. They're going to be winning a lot of balls in the midfield with their physical strength. Right here's a big opportunity for them to jump into the lead.
This is Loka. It's a good service. Shot is blocked. And a chance to counter for the Tigers. A great Great possession by Princeton to survive that second attempt.
Yeah, it started with a great ball by Vigilante, just coming out of the back.
Put your body on the line. That's Sonara, sophomore defender. Sure, Sonara is the name we will start to talk a little bit more about once this senior class moves on from Princeton.
Yeah, Sunahara and Andrew Samuels, both coming from the same club out on the West Coast in the Bay Area. You know, another guy that let's keep an eye on is the left back, number 10, Jack Jasinski, who definitely is a guy that's capable of playing at the next level. And when you talk about, you know, what's great about the Ivy League and a league that's not impacted by the transfer portal, one of the things that comes to mind is that, yes, you don't have players transferring out. You have players that are able to develop, but you also have players that develop a bit of a rivalry. And so Jack Jasinski, the left back for Princeton, Sam Fenton, the left back for Dartmouth, former teammates in the Philadelphia Union Academy, had an opportunity to play against each other 4 times, and quite possibly, if the standings remain the same as they are in this moment, they'd play against each other in the first round of the Ivy League tournament.
A victory for Princeton today with Cornell's tie against Harvard earlier this afternoon will clinch the outright Ivy League title for the Tigers, and they will host the Ivy League tournament.
Get an example, see an example of how quick Dash Pepez is. He's able to get to that ball. One of the things Pepez also does really well is what a central defender should do. First priority, he steps in front, intercepts balls.
Boy, nice play there on the backside from Dartmouth. And now that physicality starting to pick up, a foul against the Tigers.
You spoke before and asked the question, what does Dartmouth have to do to generate some offense? It is kind of interesting, though, that they are the only team in the last 10 years to go up to Vermont and score 3 goals. They were actually up 3-1 against the defending national champs, wound up with a 3-3 draw in that match. So they are capable of putting the ball in the back of the net. And they've got some guys, they've got a ton of guys warmed up already on the sideline.
Good piece of defending there from Dartmouth.
And for the Big Green, you know, we look at traditionally 10 points has been able to get you in the top 4 in the Ivy League. The only exception to that was in 2015. Sorry.
There's a foul here on the near side, committed by Jack Jasinski.
So a draw and a win in Dartmouth's final 2 games should be able to get them into the top 4. And again, the only exception was 2015. This Princeton team had 10 points and did not finish in the top 4. We'll be checking on the out-of-town scoreboard, and it's going to be really, really interesting to see how this goes.
Bodies are everywhere. Loose ball on the far side. Harmozy had it knocked away. Wonderful defending along the back line. That sort of emergency defending for Dartmouth. Would have been a great opportunity for Princeton.
Yeah, and you can see how quickly the Tigers do attack and how they can strike quickly. They like to play diagonal balls in behind space to Idicharia. And they're a team that wins it and goes at you really quickly.
This is Vigilante. Sonara touches it over the top. And we play on. The Tigers throw coming on that far side. Playoff chill today. Temperature in the low 50s. I know for me, Charlie, when the weather turns like this, I can imagine for you, you start to think about what it's like when you're playing down the stretch of the season. What is it about this time of year that feels different to you?
Yeah, I mean, it brings out the energy. You know, it just always feels like it's easier to run. You know, when we talk about the first time we were out here and it was hot and humid, and now it's just easier to run for players. But there's just a certain excitement that comes with the end of the season. And, you know, both of these teams, well, Princeton is definitely going to be into the postseason, and Dartmouth hoping to be in there. But, yeah, this time of year brings out the best in players.
That was something I was thinking about coming into this match, Charlie, about how the emotion and the energy at this time of year, you know, you've coached for a long time in college soccer. There's an urgency that seniors tend to play with down the stretch of their season. You just can't put that into a bottle and get it any other way, as Dartmouth's first attempt toward goal in several minutes goes well over the bar.
Yeah, John, this is senior day, and senior day is always an emotional day. Because now, when you take some of the seniors at Princeton, you know, you look at you know, Whitchurch, and you look at Jasinski, or guys that are probably going to be playing at the next level. But there's a bunch of guys that will not. And for a lot of these guys, their days as a collegiate soccer player are numbered.
Is there a touch here for Princeton? Great defending. Nothing going on in the box. We play on. And a Princeton throw.
Yeah, Princeton bench call for a PK. You know, and that's an example of Sam Vigilante. He's a guy that puts in so much running, covers so much ground, but he also has some very deceptive moves in the attacking third.
You know, to some degree, you have to let some physicality play. Oh, boy. And a whistle against Dartmouth. James Wilson getting a chat with the official on field, and here's another look.
Yeah, these guys are going at it. James Wilson, senior from Toronto, one of Boashani's leaders out on the field, as is number 18, defensive midfielder Sebastian Mania from the Dominican Republic. Those two, along with left back Sam Fenton, a young man from Mount Laurel, New Jersey, has given the Big Green a really great leadership over these past couple of years.
Jasinski lining it up for Princeton. Opportunity is pushed away by Dartmouth. The danger still here. Beckwith forces a corner.
Early on in the season, the Big Green had some problems defending set pieces. Let's see what we got here.
It's the timing on this. Will Loco's been everywhere defensively in the first 20 minutes for Dartmouth.
Dartmouth's got like a hybrid of zone and man for man.
Off the head, that one just wide. It was Harmozy.
Here, and we talk about some of the struggles that Big Green have had in defending free kicks and corner kicks. And, you know, the first criteria that you need for defending a corner kick is you have to be first to the ball. And there's been a couple instances where they have not. And that may cost them later on in the match.
Boy, look at this effort from Jackson Martin. Vigilante's involved. Boy, the pressure that Princeton's front line is starting to put on. You worry about sort of that cumulative effect if you're Dartmouth defensively.
Yeah, Martin goes at defenders with a vengeance. And this is a really good play by Dallas coming off. He covered that the right way. You see so many goalkeepers now going to the stand-up position with that. I like the way that he covered that ball with his arms fully extended.
Alexiou now working on that back line for Dartmouth. Where's number 2? He's going to be tested quite a bit today. Stood up to it so far. Some open field for the Tigers. That one headed away. Wilson keeps it alive for Big Green. to breathe.
John, can I make a bold prediction? I think we're going to see at least one card here tonight. Yeah, these guys are competing so hard. And again,
a great creation by Princeton. Is there a shot attempt coming? Vigilante had it blocked. Jack Hunt, what a play. Jasinski serves, and that one denied.
During senior day announcements, we heard Jack Hunt, president of the real estate club at Princeton, and he has certainly covered a lot of real estate in his 4 years here at Princeton. Looks a little shaken up from that last tackle.
Much needed substitutions for Dartmouth. We talked about how they're not as deep these days as they have been in years past. Couple of key injuries for them. Ben Bilded, number 30. First-year forward from New Canaan, Connecticut, is on.
You look at the physical profiles of the Dartmouth players. They're strong guys. You know, they're built like strong soccer players. Some of them, you know, wide range of heights, but all these guys are just strong upper bodies, strong legs.
That strength will serve you well. We'll push after the fact here on Maltinson, who had just checked in. Great play by Dellis.
Yeah, Dellis keeps a real high line, and you know, with that 6'5" frame, he's been very impressive coming out for a couple of these high balls. You know, and as we watch and we feel the energy, you do get the feeling that a goal is coming for Princeton. Dartmouth just keeps competing.
You know, I guess that's a question I have for you, Charlie. When you were coaching for so long, did you have those same feelings on game day where you say, I'm just reading the energy, the momentum of how this is playing out, they're going to get a goal soon?
Sometimes, if you're optimistic, yeah, there are times where you just feel that it's coming. You know, and right now is one of those times where I think Jim Barlow has to be feeling like, yes, it's coming.
Well, interesting there's no stoppage on that after Hunau had a hand on Jackson Martin.
Yeah, the referees are letting it go. I mean, it's you know, it is getting physical out there. These guys are really going at it because they know there's so much at stake. You know, there's a sense of desperation for both teams. You know, but they're coming from different places. Princeton is desperate to win, you know, in order to get the home seed, to get, you know, to win the regular season.
Kohler touches it ahead. It's James Wilson. Not able to keep it in play, but we're going to have a corner coming for Dartmouth.
Yeah, and Dartmouth, on the other hand, is desperate to get into the playoffs. They're desperate to get a result here, whether it be a tie or a win. And, John, when you have desperation in a soccer match, it usually turns out to be a pretty good thing. You see these guys are desperate competing for these 50-50 balls. They're desperate to get back for this emergency defense term that you used before. Princeton's going man-to-man. They've got the top of the box covered. Somebody on the front post.
And a little talking to going on before play here for the corner from Ollie Spicer. Spicer serves toward the back post. And another corner coming for Dartmouth.
So look up and see 16:10 left on the screen. For me, this first half has just flown by. There's been, you know, again, there hasn't been a lot of flow. You know, Princeton's had the better opportunities in the final third, but it's just a level of competition and the competing that these guys are playing at such a high level right now, or competing at a high level.
This is the freshman build-in to take the corner for Dartmouth. Another corner coming for Big Green.
Yeah, it's been dangerous situations here. You know, Dartmouth is able to just flood that box. They were just able to push guys onto Samuels. He's very good at dealing with traffic. But now we look, we see 6 guys inside of the 6. That's a lot of traffic for him to deal with.
Bilden sends it into the front post. That was Jackson Martin pushing it away. And Dartmouth maintains possession. This is probably their most sustained possession in the offensive third, coming in these last 2-3 minutes here.
But you get an idea on that last corner kick about everyone's buying. We see the freshman forward, Jackson Martin, is the first one to the ball. So everyone's bought in defensively. And that's the reason why they've only surrendered 4 goals so far, as we see.
Well, Pepez just able to keep that one in play. Nicely done by Princeton.
There's a plethora of subs being ready to check in for the Tigers. The Kelly brothers, Tyler Villette, and senior Gabe Duchovny.
Yeah, 4 seniors, or 4 Tigers, I should say, lining up right here for the next stoppage. Across the half-hour mark in the first half. Only 1 shot on target for each side. Sonara creates a throw.
Yeah, again, we had mentioned Gabe Duchovny. Let me give a shout out to this young man here. Here on senior day, 16 career starts, 8 starts last year, only 1 start this year. His numbers have been reduced, but when you see him come into the game, it's not about whether he's worried about his numbers, and that's kind of like the culture that this senior group has really added to Princeton. He's coming into the match, and he's just concerned about winning. And can I tell you how much he's into the game? He's carrying 4 yellow cards. And usually you see a guy with 4 yellow cards is not somebody that's on the sideline sulking.
Well, fresh legs for Princeton in the final minutes of the first half. This is Kevin Kelly. Jasinski tries to keep it in, and it's headed away by Dartmouth.
This game's a little physical,
goes down. No whistle. Baltinson really smarting after that one.
Fans right in front of us here voicing their displeasure.
This is a great crowd filling in this afternoon. Beautiful afternoon. A little chilly. You wonder, well, Dartmouth certainly hoping for an advantage out of that. Is there an opportunity here for Princeton as we approach the final 12 minutes of the first half?
But Dartmouth retreats so well on many occasions today into that low defensive block. They've got numbers behind the ball. They've got the key areas sealed off. Kept the Tigers at bay so far.
Sadjak swings it around. Samuels. Pepez. And nothing doing on the backside there. With such energy here this afternoon. It's beautiful as you come down to the second to last weekend of the regular season. Every team on the men's side in the Ivy League still has a chance to get into the Ivy League tournament. Princeton with a win today, a chance to host that Ivy League tournament. Kelly's shot is blocked. Play on. Kelly touches it toward the goal. Boy, Christian and Kevin Kelly both sticking a hand in, and They're looking for a handball in the box.
Yeah, there's been a couple of moments here where you just, the Dartmouth sideline are just holding their breath a little bit. But yeah, the Kelly brothers are, again, an example of the guys that Princeton can bring in off the bench. One of the players that has done very well for them in the last several matches is Tyler Villette, freshman from DeKalb, Illinois. Big, strong fella who played a lot in the Bryant game. And he plays in like a deeper lying midfield, is capable of covering a lot of ground and winning a lot of balls.
Boy, 50-50 balls, these balls in the air, they've been just about even here today. I know when you and I were talking earlier in the week, Charlie, we thought that whoever could control off of headers in the midfield would really give themselves a chance.
No, you're right about that, John. And again, it's the physical strength of the Dartmouth team that's been able to just keep themselves in. Sunohara with a great step in.
There are numbers here for Princeton. Vigilante rolls it in for the Tigers. On senior day, Sam Vigilante has given his team the lead.
So it's the guy that we talked about in our open, and what we said was he's not interested in stats, but he's certainly going to be interested in this. And this all starts with Sunohara and the step in, and then Christian Kelly laying the ball off to Sam Vigilante. For a guy that covers such a lot of ground and puts in such hard work, a well-deserved reward with the first goal as the Tigers go up 1-0.
Great first touch there to swing through two Dartmouth defenders. Sam Vigilante, just his second career goal, but you can tell from the reaction from the sideline and from this home crowd just how valuable he is to the Tigers.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, right back, sophomore Roka Sunohara. I believe on the last rankings that came out at midseason from Top Drawer Soccer, he was ranked probably 56, one of the top in the country, top 60, definitely a top 60 player in the country. He's really great at in the attack, but he's just a very good one-on-one defender, and that play all started with his ability to step in front and intercept that pass. Played it off to Christian Kelly, who played it off to Vigilante, and again, that's how quickly the Tigers strike.
Well, we spend so much time talking about the Princeton defense, just how good it's been this year, but Charlie, the quick strike ability offensively for this group is what makes them one of the nation's best teams. And is there another opportunity here for Princeton? A throw coming for the Tigers in front of their own bench.
Yeah, they just keep coming at you. They just keep coming at you, and just eventually they're able to just break you down.
And now the physicality starting to pick up for Dartmouth, and here comes a free kick for the Tigers.
And something just to take note of when Princeton wins the ball, they're not looking to play it side. They're not looking to play it back. They're going forward. They're trying to make that first penetrating pass, and they're used to that. And that's how they want to play. That's how the senior class has told Jim Barlow they want to play. And the coaching staff has done a really good job in bringing this along.
Jasinski lining it up for Princeton. Still opportunity here for the Tigers. Foot race to the spinner, last touch by Dartmouth.
Yeah, the aforementioned Duchovny again, a guy that just is now coming in and off the bench. That's just indicative of the kind of midfielders they have. They're really good at 5 to 10 yard sprints. That's a dangerous ball.
Oh my goodness. Very nearly a second goal for Princeton.
Yeah, and something we had talked about before, that Jackson Martin, now out of the game, he's a guy that stays in the center part of the field. Right there, just not enough guys in the box. Idicherry was in there. didn't really get a good look at the goal. But, you know, when Jackson Martin does come out of the game, he's a guy that, again, stays in the box. He goes into spots that a lot of forwards don't want to.
I'll tell you, partner, I'm watching that sequence, and I'm thinking about Bo O'Shaughnessy telling us earlier this week, Dartmouth's head coach, about how we can't have those plays like that on the backside. We can't do things that will help Princeton create offensive opportunities because they're so talented, they're so connected with each other that we have to be at our best defensively. And boy, the energy has really picked up for Princeton here in the last 10 minutes since the substitutions. And the cross too tall. A throw coming for Big Green.
Yeah, that's where you see the danger of a player like Idicheria. You know, Idicheria is so dangerous because he can go both ways. And, you know, he can start out on the right flank, but he'll put the ball on his left foot and very often try to cut in. And conversely does the same thing when he's set up here on the left flank. And yeah, I do see like the tempo of the defenders for Dartmouth slowing down just a little bit, where maybe their legs are just getting a little bit heavy before halftime.
It's another element that we've talked about here, that Dartmouth doesn't have as much depth this year as they have had in years past. Bo O'Shaughnessy telling us that he was thinking he'd play something like 13 or 14 today. But, you know, Charlie, I'm thinking about it with a game like this and the amount of energy that you have to expend just to play the game, that you're probably going to feel a little bit more tired at this stage of the first half than you might on another day.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, towards the end of each half is when you see a larger number of goals being scored.
Idicheria, too tall, headed for the video board.
Yeah, he's been a little bit off on a couple of his strikes today, has Idicheria. But then again, you know, you go back to when we talked to Bo O'Shaughnessy, did not make any excuses for you know, missing his two leading scorers. He's just saying, you know, it is what it is, and we'll play and do what we have to do. But you know, but clearly, you know, you can see that his team is slowing down, and I think they'd be happy to get out of the half at a 1-0 clip.
Yeah, I think that's the question I have for you, Charlie. How does Dartmouth maintain this at 1-0? Because it seems like there's another chance for Princeton every 30 to 45 seconds here.
Yeah, I mean,
Dallas
this game is
handles it. Yeah.
This game is being played at two paces, and that's fast and faster. And so, you know, perhaps maybe you know, Bo can let the guys, let Princeton come out of the back, maybe just drop them into a little bit of a deeper low block, just try to fend off this, you know, this attack that's really coming at them in the last 5 minutes.
More possession for Princeton. Approaching the final 3.5 in the first half. Kevin Kelly, the intended target. Kelly draws a whistle now, and here comes a booking. Mannion takes the yellow for Dartmouth.
Yeah, Mannion, one of the guys that Dartmouth, or Bo O'Shaughnessy, refers to as one of his warriors out there. Senior leader out of Dominican Republic. Catches a booking, and again, you know, it's an unfortunate booking for them. There's 3 minutes before halftime, because now he's got to play a little bit more guarded. You know, he's got to play a little bit more guarded. Certainly, if they need him to take a tactical foul later on into the match, he's not going to be able to do that. He's just got to be a little bit more guarded in his challenges.
Well, Jasinski lines it up again for Princeton. Boy, that just passed the forehead of Friedrich Sajic.
Yeah, that's such a difficult play for a goalkeeper, because you've got to, yeah. Watch this. Dallas is taking a nice high line, and it's forcing Princeton to be really precise. But as a goalkeeper, you've got to wait for that first ball to come through.
Boy, Sajic just narrowly missed it. Maybe if his hair was a little longer, he'd have had a chance at that one. Dartmouth hasn't maintained much possession in the last 15 minutes or so here.
I'll tell you, you just see another example of the leadership. Sebastian Manning broke up so many plays here, so many balls that are being played through in the midfield.
Dallas sends it away. His opposing keeper, Andrew Samuels, junior from Burlingame, California. He and Sonara, both from the same area, the Bay Area, and I think that's something that I think a lot of college coaches will value. Players that have familiarity with each other, whether it's at the high school or club level when they arrive in college.
Yeah, they both started out with Santa Clara assistant coach Eric Yamamoto with the ends of force. Then they both moved up to MLS next with the San Jose Earthquake. Again, you see a lot of these guys that come out MLS next. Jasinski, Sam Fenton.
Boy, Duchovny caught his opponent. And you wonder if there is a whistle here against Duchovny. Kariurgis was the one who went down for Dartmouth. And it looks like Duchovny has been booked.
Well, we did say he had 4 yellow cards. I believe this is his 5th. We'll have to sit out the pen match.
Yeah, something there at the end of the play. And
it's one reason why I'm really happy I'm not an official, because there's been so much incidental contact in this match. You know, you just don't know where you have to draw the line in terms of, just in terms of issuing yellow cards.
Well, partner, being an official, especially, I think it goes across any athletic event now. At the collegiate level, it's one of the hardest jobs in the world.
No, I did it a long time ago. I would not be good at it. Much more comfortable up here with you, John.
Boy, good pressure there. Aldenson.
Yeah, a little bit of shaky moment there for the usually reliable Samuels.
Throw coming for Princeton as we tick down the final seconds of the first half.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what adjustments, both coaches make for Princeton. I don't think there's much. I think they probably will return the same group of players that they have out on the field. Barlow's been letting these guys, the substitutes, go into the second half. And for Boashan, it's going to be interesting to see what they come up with in the second half. Both these guys know what they're doing. We look forward to a really good second half, John.
4 shots for Dartmouth in the first half, just 1 on target. 7 shots for the Tigers, 2 of them on target, and 1 of them in the back of the net by Sam Vigilante. We have reached halftime this afternoon from Meislich Field at Roberts Stadium. The Princeton Tigers 45 minutes away from clinching an outright Ivy League title and home field advantage in the Ivy League tournament.
Emotional, and I'm sure they want to come out of here with a victory.
The former Rider University head coach Charlie Universo and our producer Michael Leda. I'm John Moses. Thanks for making us part of your Saturday afternoon. Princeton with a victory today based on Cornell's tie with Harvard earlier this afternoon can clinch the Ivy League tournament outright and host it beginning November the 13th. The Talking about halftime adjustments, Charlie, take me inside. You know, if you're in a locker room, down a goal at where the situation is like this for Dartmouth, what kind of message would you share with Dartmouth's team?
Yeah, well, Dartmouth is not a team that's really going to beat you with a lot of possession, a lot of build-up, and you know they play. Their style is to play direct normally, and so now I think maybe just. There's not been too many teams that really tried to flight balls in behind the Princeton defense the entire year. That's maybe a concept that I would maybe try to employ for the second half. You kind of have, and that's an example, not a really good example of how they want to play. But I think Dartmouth has to try to float some balls in behind the Princeton defense. Maybe get the ball into their half, get numbers into the box, and try to get some knockdowns. Sounds like Bo might have listened to us. They are going a little bit direct.
Baldwin Son. Nobody home in the middle for the moment. And a missed opportunity for Big Green.
Yeah, that's a positive start for Dartmouth.
Well, a couple of good early services for Big Green. And, you know, Charlie, you talk about teams don't typically try to play over the top of the Princeton defense. Why is that?
Well, it's because their ability to defend and not get beat in behind. They make really good adjustments just in terms of reading the play. You know, good defenders will just their playing distance is always really solid. So they know exactly how far to play, and they anticipate that ball played in behind. Plus, Dash Pepez has really good recovery speed, and so that's why it's one of the reasons why it's difficult to get in behind the Princeton defense. Another reason is Samuels plays a really high line, and he almost plays like a center fielder and is able to steal a lot of balls that are played over the top.
Some of these substitutions for Princeton remain out there. Tyler Villette, Sonara serves in and has it sent away for a Princeton corner.
You know, and Princeton is hold true to form in that they will send substitutions in towards the latter part of the first half. In this case, they sent 4 substitutions in, and they usually leave those players in to get a good run. And what that does, though, physically for the guys that have come out, is it just gives them an extra 15 minutes, you know, recovery time.
Off the head, it's too tall. What a nice effort up front for Princeton. There's Tyler Villette, freshman midfielder.
Great ball laid in there by Jack Jasinski, a guy who has just kind of quietly gone through his senior year. A lot of accolades in the beginning of the year. Started out with top Drawer Soccer, top 100 player. Was not mentioned in the last edition, the mid-season edition. I don't know what he did not to belong in that top 100 group, but he's a guy from the Philadelphia Union Academy. He's a guy that's capable of playing at the next level. And I will tell you, John, I had a lot of talking points written down before the match about the great traditions of coaches that have come in this rivalry. Bobby Clark, Bob Bradley. This game's been so fast, I haven't had the time to get any of those out.
Stoppage here at Sonara is shaken up for Princeton. Sophomore defender who's just been so good. Sonahara helped to his feet by the official.
Yeah, so now that's a concern as you are approaching postseason. You know, the soft muscle tissue injuries that you have, a coach can have a little bit of control over that by not overtraining his team and you know and just reading the GPS monitors, knowing you know how hard to push his team. The incidental contacts you have no control over, and I've seen a lot of seasons ruined by just contact injuries late in the season.
Boy,
Kelly, dance marathon
goodness.
there in the corner, huh?
Oh, look at him go. Alderson applying some pressure for Dartmouth. But no chance to maintain possession off of that.
Yeah, and you asked about what happens when you go into the locker room. First off, one great thing about this facility here is you can just get right into the locker room. And as crazy as it may sound, in a lot of college facilities, it's a 3-4 minute walk, and your time is so limited at halftime. You got to make sure there's guys that are they're going to the bathroom, and you got to make sure that you get all your guys in, and you really have to have this thing timed out perfectly. But in soccer, in college soccer, professional soccer, many times halftime can either be your friend or your enemy. It's the adjustments that you make just in terms of your personnel and your approach, but it's also the psychological and the mentality adjustments that you need to make.
And a whistle here against Big Green. And Sunahara taking exception to that touch of the ball after the whistle by Dartmouth.
This has not been an easy match to officiate. There's just been so much contact.
The foul there on Bilden. Freshman who's played a pretty significant stretch here for Dartmouth. Princeton's had plenty of possession in the forward third today. Sunahara has it knocked out of play. Here comes another Princeton corner.
Hey, well, while we have a chance, how about a shout out to the Princeton women's team who took Ivy League regular season after some decimating injuries, season-ending injuries. Zoe Marcancini and Drew Coomans took a victory up at Brown. Congratulations to Sean Driscoll and his squad. Going to be hosting here next week.
Was there an opportunity for Princeton? Dallas takes care of it, and it's interesting that under no circumstance it feels like is Dartmouth willing to play with a fast pace to try to counterattack. I mean, to me, partner, seeing the end of this replay, you've got an opportunity to potentially put some pressure on those guys and push the ball up the field.
Yeah, and again, I think the best route for them to go is a route that we're close to, Route 1, and just getting the balls in and again trying to play in behind the defense. And they've been dangerous. I mean, these are the two. We're here in the first 8 minutes of the second half. These are the two most dangerous attempts that they've had so far in the match. But then again, go at the back of the defense. You got a young freshman defender there in Sajic, and maybe try to play balls in behind him.
Well, here's the speed of Kelly. This is Kevin Kelly. And here comes a Princeton throw.
You got to give credit to the two center backs for Dartmouth, Karagis and Huno. They've been very solid. They've broken up a lot of chances. They've been under a lot of pressure.
And a whistle.
Sunahara's good salesman on that one.
This one's on Noah Sams.
Yeah, this sets up a dangerous attempt here, because these flank free kicks, these diagonal free kicks, are sometimes as dangerous or more dangerous than corner kicks. He was able to sell that one. There was not much contact there. But again, the reason why this is such a dangerous free kick, the defenders are shaped in the wrong direction. It's really easy for forwards to get on the blind side of an attacker. Got to get the first touch.
Jasinski to send it in. Princeton has it saved. Oh, a missed opportunity. Dallas got a right hand on it.
That's a game-changing save right there. I think that was Tyler Villette that got the head on it. We take a look. Beautiful serve by Jasinski. Yeah, it was. I thought that was 2-0. What a great reaction saved by Dellis. And a good recovery to knock it out.
From the corner, Jasinski, another header pushed away by Dellis. Two potentially game-saving saves for Konstantinos Dellis in goal.
Yeah, the sophomore from Greece, and he has not had a lot of experience in a big green uniform. And he's been up to the task in the second half here.
Christian Kelly settles for Princeton. Another service, and Dellis has it.
But how hard is it to cope with a team like Princeton when you can bring in a freshman like Tyler Villette that comes in and he covers so much ground. He's big and physical. Just gets on the end of things. It's that depth that's just so hard to deal with for opponents.
Boy, great touch there from Jack Hunt in the midfield. Vigilante serves it ahead. Here is Christian Kelly. Kelly dancing. Could not connect with his brother. Good set of defending there from Pepez.
Well, we said in the open this was going to be a good matchup here between Arvar and Pepez. Pepez was the victor on that one.
All it takes is one, though. Princeton playing with such confidence right now.
Yeah.
And they'll have a throw.
And again, in the open, we used the term, this unheralded Princeton midfield, the three guys that play in that midfield spot. Beckwith, Vigilante, and Jack Hunt. It's so easy to take these guys for granted unless you see them on a regular basis.
And we play on as Kevin Kelly went to the ground. Boy, Jack Hunt, another great touch. Chiria under some pressure, and it's goal kick.
Yeah, good example of what we're talking about there. Jack Hunt. That's about as difficult ball as you're going to see him play. And what they do is not only these three midfielders, but most of the players, in the back line and in the back 6 or 7 for Princeton, they play within themselves. They know that their range of skill. They're not trying to do things that they can't do. And again, you had asked me before about why is it so difficult to get in behind Princeton. It's because of their playing distance and how they know just how far to play off of their man, and they read and anticipate.
Boy, Kelly is such a bundle of energy. I think you can say that about both of them. This is Christian Kelly. Villette. Vigilante. And Dartmouth able to survive. Well, you're just sort of holding your breath anytime that ball goes in the air right now off of Princeton foot.
Yeah, I mean, this first half here is a little bit reminiscent of the Bryant game where, we are seeing, even though we have seen a couple of good attacks from Dartmouth, it is a little reminiscent where the lion's share of the possession is right in the attacking third for Princeton.
It's right back to Dellis.
Yeah. Right here, I would go and just try to play one in behind, try to get something going. Because the longer you're going to hold on to the ball with Princeton, with the way that they can cover ground in the field, now right now you look up and there's 9, 10 guys in an organized fashion behind the ball, and it's going to be really hard to break them down.
Just look at the chase from Vigilante here. 18 in white, got a foot on that one. Here comes a Dartmouth throw. 30 minutes to go.
Yeah, Vigilante, he covers a lot of ground, but he's also good in setting up traps for his teammates. So he'll shepherd the ball or the play to one side. So it's difficult for a player to have a lot of passing options.
Boy, Princeton getting away with a pretty dangerous play there on the backside. Kelly. Luceria. Off the side of the net.
Yeah, this was such a dangerous ball. This early diagonal ball that was played in by Kelly, and just enough good defending there to kind of force Idicherry into a wider angle. Yeah, and just, you know, Dartmouth just keeps hanging around. And as we see Marty Harmosi ready to check in.
For Dartmouth, Oscar Magnusson just checked in. Senior midfielder from Iceland. Fenton lost it.
Fenton's had a great career. Young man from Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Been a real steady force for Beauchamp. He's been one of his leaders.
Haven't heard much from him today. That is Kevin Kelly checking out for Princeton. A foul on Harmosi right as he entered.
Why not? You know, why not get your feet wet? You get back in. You've been on the bench for 20 minutes.
Starting to see some of that Princeton depth as the starters will rotate back on here probably in the next 5-10 minutes here. Pretty good piece of defending there from Sonahara.
Yeah, he's so good. Again, you know, your first criteria as a defender, step in and win the pass. And that's what he's done on several occasions. Most particularly on the goal that was scored, how he stepped in front and passed the ball off to Christian Kelly.
Magnusson puts it in. Princeton sends it aside.
You know, when we take a look at that Princeton goal that was scored, it was from the other side of the field, the defensive side of the field. And John, you know, the rule of thumb is when you win the ball that far away from goal, so let's say like 60, 70 yards away from goal, the rule of thumb is to get a product on goal within 8 seconds. And that's exactly what Princeton did on that counterattack. It was a 2-pass counterattack that led to a goal.
Princeton throw coming.
Well, you know, and the impressive part about that goal, too, is you talk about guys that play within themselves, you know. And, again, Vigilante, not a guy who's going to dribble past guys, but he took a really nice self-pass and self-touch to just evade the defender and tuck it into the corner.
Hunt. Here comes a Princeton throw. Beauchamp and his staff chatting away with the on-field official about that whistle against them. Aldenson on the run. Well defended by the Tigers. Dash Pepez.
Our featured battle in the opening, Arbison against Pepez.
Harmosi. Villette missed the full net. Boy, it was open for him as Dellis came out. Princeton very nearly doubled the lead.
Harmosi did exactly what you're supposed to be doing here. And when you give a through ball, you want your teammate to be able to hit that ball first time. The pace on that pass was exactly right. He put the defender out of the game. The freshman from DeKalb would love to have that one back. That's 2-0, and then that's going to be a big hill for the Big Green to climb up.
Especially considering the challenge that Dartmouth has had generating offense today. Only 4 shots for them.
Yeah.
And a whistle against Big Green in the midfield.
I'm happy I got Villette's hometown right, because I got it wrong. And I just said he was from Cincinnati one of the earlier games. His parents are probably mad at me.
Every day you get better at this, Charlie. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Thanks, buddy.
Plenty of options forward. That was off the head of Tyler Villette.
So, John, what did we talk about? You asked me as a coach, do you feel there's times in the match where that goal is coming? As one of these, now is one of these times where we just feel not enough pressure on that service, and yet you do feel that second goal coming. So it's incumbent upon Dartmouth, again, just hold them off. Just keep holding. The longer they stay into this game, the longer they got a chance to poke one in late. And if they come out of here with 1 point, that's not the worst.
Mm-hmm. Really, a point of any kind, as you said, is imperative for Dartmouth for their chances going into next weekend.
Yeah, but then again, I don't know. I'm not the guy that's going to figure this out mathematically, but just perhaps that 9 points can get them in.
Well, in the first place, Dartmouth's going to have to take care of their own business next week. They are home against Harvard.
Right. And now how many points are we looking at for Harvard? I think they're at 4.
Up to the minute standings, they're at 5 points.
Yeah. So again, whosever idea this was to have an Ivy League tournament, they were right on the money again, because we're probably going to be talking about minimum of 6 teams that are going to be alive next week. In the past, in the Ivy League, you start out this season 0-2, and for all intents and purposes, your chances of your season was over.
Playing for pride a little bit.
You were playing for pride, but you didn't. I mean, I guess in rare occasions you'd have a chance, to get in that large bid. But just in terms of winning the league, your chances were very minimal.
Boy, Pepez has been so reliable on that back line today. We play on the foot of Harmozy, and now a whistle goes against Dartmouth. Free kick coming for Princeton from a good position.
Yeah, it started with a great ball from Pepez, and then again a ball from Pepez, and then just that quickness and that endurance, that running ability of Vigilante. He's just covering so much ground. He's such a good runner. And why not? His dad's the track coach here. He's just a very valuable member of this team, and a guy that just keeps getting better.
Well, for Dartmouth in this situation defensively, Charlie, how do you set this up? What kind of thing do you want to see from them?
Well, you want to get your wall. You want to get some of your taller guys in, certainly some of your braver guys in there that are going to be able to take a shot off of the chest. You don't want them turning. You just got to take one for the team here. Goalkeeper's in a good position.
Harmozy, that's off the bar. Villette heads it up. Still alive and sent away by Big Green. Harmozy applying more pressure for Princeton. Shakes free of ball to send. Goal kick coming.
Did I see a head fake by Harmozy on that? Was that a no-look cross? What was going on there? I think, he just, after he clanks one off the bar, he takes one down in the corner, steps on it. And I think he did a no-look pass on that one. There was something going on, but it was a little entertaining.
All right, 3 subs for Dartmouth. That's something we've noted here the last 25 minutes, that it looks like Dartmouth, the energy for them is not the same.
Yeah, and we said that in the beginning, is that
Great foot race to the ball, and it's a Dartmouth free kick.
Yeah, we said that in the beginning, John, is that this is going to be such a high-paced game. It's going to be such an intense game, and that, you know, depth is going to play such an important part. And again, there's not too many teams, you know, certainly not in this league, but not too many teams across the country that has the kind of depth that Princeton has.
What is typical in college soccer in terms of depth?
You know, your superpowers are usually the teams that have the great amount of depth. As we see, really dangerous opportunity.
No corner, though. Saved in play by Andrew Samuels. Foot race on the far side. Sonahara is to the part. That's Echeverria down to the ground. Where will they mark this foul? And is there another booking coming for Dartmouth?
Yeah, and there's going to be a booking here, and you know, we talk about tactical fouls, and that was definitely one there, because Echeverria was in.
Unu is booked here for that tackle, and it looked like he actually caught his teammate, and then his teammate is the one who took Echeverria to the ground.
Yeah, was it Unu that got the card? Or
yeah, they gave it to Unu.
Okay, and again, sets up a dangerous one of these flank free kicks. Goalkeepers hate these because it's so difficult to really judge where the ball is going to be flighted into. And Jasinski's really good at marking his targets.
Is there a touch by Dartmouth? No. There sure was. So corner coming for the Tigers.
Liam Beckwith coming back into the match for Christian Kelly.
Boy, just great minutes for Christian Kelly and Kevin Kelly today. Echeverria. That one blocked. Danger still on here for Dartmouth. Harmozy. Jasinski serves. And Dellis takes care of it.
Yeah, Dellis has been impressive today. He's, you know, not only has he made 2 key saves.
Dartmouth applying some pressure. This is something that I was hoping to see a little bit more from them in the second half here. We're playing on the foot of Harmozy. He takes a shot. Second attempt is sent aside.
He almost made me look bad on that one. After I just heaped such great praise on him. But no, Dellis has been very good. He's been very good in traffic and has made 2 game-changing saves.
Numbers again here. Harmozy centers. Boy, it's still open here on the backside.
Yeah, what's great about Harmozy is
Vallette goes down.
That's an unnecessary foul. Tell you what I liked about Harmozy on that last play. The ball was played through to him, and he takes a diagonal first touch. So he's got his body shaped up perfectly, and he sent just an absolutely great ball across the box. Nobody was there. Just an unnecessary foul by Dartmouth.
Here's Jasinski just inside of the corner.
And Dartmouth's got everybody back.
To the back post. Vigilante couldn't keep it in play.
I'm going to tell you, Vigilante's going to sleep well tonight. That boy has been all over this field today.
Nick Cashambuzi, sophomore defender from Jersey City, wears number 4 for Big Green, has subbed on here. Seeing some heavy legs for Big Green, and they got started before the substitution was complete. Boy, it's starting to get chilly now that the sun is set completely.
It is, and with the pace of this game, this is just, for me, has just flown by. John, I had pages of fun facts for this game. I haven't been able to get any of them out.
Cheria had the touch. It's still alive.
Oh my goodness. This is just one of those games. I can tell you from experience. I mean, Beckwith, one of the great passers on this team. That's just a great ball slipped through, and it's with a couple of touches and a fumble. And I can tell you from experience, this is one of these games as a coach. You just go, I just feel a little bit snake bitten because it could be 4-0 right now.
The margin of error so small in the Ivy League.
I could tell you, coaches are all nuts because you're in a game like this and you just think, did I do something earlier in life where I'm being punished for? Because, I mean, by all rights, you're on the sidelines with the Princeton. You think you should be up by at least 3 right now.
19 shots for Princeton, 7 on target today. Double in the corner. Boy, it is physical, and Dartmouth will have a throw here. Approaching the final 15 minutes, a win for Princeton, and they will clinch an outright Ivy League title, and they will host as the #1 seed the Ivy League tournament. Dartmouth, no. Touch there on the backside by Jasinski. Opportunity here again. Shot blocked again by the Tigers.
And one of the most underrated statistics in the game, the block shot. It's something coaches stress to their defenders, the importance of just getting your foot in there and blocking shots.
Cheria creating. He's past 2. He's got an opportunity in front. Villette has it saved by Dallas.
It's been a rough day for Villette. He could easily have 2, but on that play, we just see the breakaway, dangerous speed of Idicheria. Hormozy getting the first touch in there. Villette also probably think there's something I did earlier in life, where I'm getting this bad luck. Because he could have easily had 2 today.
I think you're right on the money.
And probably
with that.
Should have had
at least 2. I mean, he had the header saved off of the corner, and that one right there. Here is Jasinski again. Dallas got a hand on it. It didn't clear the zone. Hormozy. And a whistle against the Tigers.
Yeah, well, again, but this is what makes Princeton a good team, because you have a guy like Villette, and it's not his role as a goal scorer. He's a deep lying midfielder. He's a number 6, a ball winner, a guy that's covering a lot of ground. He has been in a lot of minutes. I don't remember when he entered the match, but he's been in from maybe the 17-minute mark of the first half.
That's a whistle against Dartmouth as Hormozy went to the deck. And that's right at Dallas in net. Boy, where does Dartmouth go for offense at this point? Approaching the final 12 minutes.
Again, and you talk.
Beck with the touch for Hormozy. Dartmouth just had a very hard time clearing the zone today.
That last little snippet with Hormozy is kind of a microcosm of the entire Princeton season, in that you see that 50-50 challenge, and whether it be because some of these Dartmouth players are fatigued, but Hormozy comes out of that play with the ball, maybe because he just wanted it, or he just had a better better technique at getting to it. They win so many little balls, scoop up so many little balls and little 50-50 balls.
They've even won a lot of these 50-50 headers in the middle of the field. Princeton maintaining possession today.
Yeah, and again, listen, we're looking back at Dartmouth, who are missing two guys that scored a total of 12 goals and had 7 assists last year.
Look at all this open space in the midfield right now for Princeton. Idicheria lining up the defense and just missed the net.
And when we talk about the trio of starting midfielders, Liam Beckwith is the best passer of that trio. And that was just a great ball that he put behind Idicheria, who's had a little bit of a difficult afternoon in terms of the final product.
Amazing how the whole day can feel different just around one touch here or there. Dartmouth looking for that touch as we enter the final 10 minutes from Princeton.
Yeah, but when you're playing in the back four and you've got to go against Idicheria, you can never relax because you've always got to keep an eye on him. And there's so many different ways he can attack you.
Princeton again pretty organized defensively. There's just no opportunity on this near side. Good connection here. More than a full minute of touches for Big Green, but they've just given up space in the end.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You talk about all the things that are available to coaches now, and the GPS monitors that these players, the player track monitors. It would not surprise me tomorrow to see that a player like Vigilante has logged in more than 9 miles.
Idicheria, 1-on-2, and that one's headed for the garage. But it feels like he is so close to potentially putting this one away for Princeton.
Yeah, he's had an unusually off day, just in terms of Vigilante has the GPS monitors that these players, the player track monitors. It would not surprise me tomorrow to see that a player like Vigilante has logged in more than 9 miles.
Idicheria, 1-on-2, and that one's headed for the garage. But it feels like he is so close to potentially putting this one away for Princeton.
Yeah, he's had an unusually off day, just in terms, again, of the final product. Because he's had, I would estimate, he's had 6 chances on goal. But then again, he's a guy that's constantly putting pressure on the back line. And just somebody that you've always got to be aware of and worried about.
Hormozy serves. Dallas toes that line. Liam Beckwith applying the pressure there for Princeton. Well, Tyler Villette, we were talking about how he did not start this game. Head coach Jim Barlow talking to us about him a little bit earlier this week. Hasn't come off the field since he subbed in.
Yeah, and again, that's part of the recruiting process that not only they look for in Princeton, but so many successful programs have. You have to find players that can run, and you have to find players that are good over 5 yards, 10 yards, and then guys that can cover with large, long, high-speed intensity runs. he's one of those guys, and there's so many programs. You know, the big programs around the country all have guys like that, and have a deep roster of guys like that.
Service is blocked. Dartmouth's got 2 in the box right now. And here comes a big green throw. Whistle against Princeton.
Now the Tigers are going to have to be sharp on this because they've been the dominant team in this second half. Dartmouth, yeah.
This is Beckwith applying the pressure for Princeton. Just enough contact there to warrant the whistle. Here comes a substitution for the Tigers. Jackson Martin.
The Martin clearly is in there just, for his energy, for the amount of high-intensity sprints that he can bring and putting pressure on the back four for Dartmouth. Little bit of a disappointment on senior day for Iticheri. Here's the shot.
Spicer. Oh, that's off the post. Goodness, what a strike from Ollie Spicer. And Big Green has possession. Is there a jolt of energy coming for Big Green here in the final moments of this one? Looking for this tie. A point so important for Dartmouth today, and Spicer very nearly gave it to him.
Yeah, I thought he had Samuel's beat on that, and boy, would that be a hard knock for Princeton to take after being the dominant team for so much of this match.
Service. And that one a bit too ambitious. That sense of desperation. Dartmouth has not had many opportunities today, and well, perhaps that one could have been capitalized on.
Yeah, now for Princeton, it's just 5 minutes of managing the match. You want to keep the ball in your attacking end. Keeping possession is always the best way to kill off 5 minutes. You take more time on throw-ins, goal kicks.
Armosi chasing.
The other thing, John, is you tell your guys, unless you're really injured, don't go down where we have to stop the clock. All these little things, and if you do it right, you can not effectively knock off a minute and a half towards the end of the match.
Who is the one for Dartmouth? Play on. Armosi briefly had the touch. Dartmouth maintains possession. Under 4 minutes to go. Whistle against Big Green. Sonahara, he's taken a couple of hard falls today. Smarting from that one. And this is just what you were talking about a moment ago, Charlie, that you don't want this clock to stop, and that if you are down and injured, it's because you really are.
Yeah, don't think Rocco's faking that one. He's had a solid game. This kid just gets better every game I see him. He's a great 1-versus-1 defender. He's really good at stepping in, and he's very, very important to the attack when he gets forward.
Is Will Wolka coming back for Dartmouth. Samuels sends it ahead for the Tigers. Looking to put this one away. Beckwith and Hunt. Such great chemistry between those two. Vigilante, who's got the goal today in the 35th minute in the first half.
So you talk about experience, you talk about senior day. This starting lineup for Princeton has almost 300 career starts. If you threw in Fravellini, Whitchurch, it would be closer to 350. That's an experienced team that you don't see very often in college soccer.
Especially all with the same program. I mean, I think in some other conferences you may be able to see a situation like that where guys with experience all end up together for a final year or two of college soccer, but it's a little different in the Ivy League, and look, they're not immune to it. It is a natural reality of today's athletics. Players use the transfer portal to their advantage, but very rare in the Ivy League.
It may not be the team with the league with the best teams, but I think it's the best league to play in.
Here's Villette. He's had so many important moments today, playing possession into the corner. Villette trying to keep it in. No way. It's just sitting right there. Here comes a goal kick.
Yeah, so when you're talking about in the same uniform, in the same program, over 300 starts, but this midfield of Beckwith, Hunt, and Vigilante, over 100 career starts.
Villette serves it ahead to Harmozy. Approaching the final 90 seconds in this one, and Harmozy draws a whistle. And now there's something going on here. Harmozy not too happy about the way that ball was sent out of play.
Yeah, just draws the foul. A little flick on. Now they might just play this down into the corner. Really no need to flight it into the ball, especially the way Dallas has been handling these crosses. Smart play.
Final minute.
You don't want your guys floating balls into the box because now those balls can be headed out for counterattacks, but also with a dominant keeper like Dallas, he can catch that and start a counterattack.
Princeton playing possession in the final minute here. A whistle. Are we still on?
It's almost inevitable that there's going to be a little friction, you know, and it's kind of just a boys will be boys type of thing. But in the end of a game like this, and you're trying to kill off a lead, there's going to be contact, and, you know, there's going to be a little back and forth.
The final seconds ticking away. Boy, Jackson Martin having some fun in the final seconds, and it's celebration time for the Princeton Tigers. A 1-0 win over Dartmouth. They are outright Ivy League champions. The Ivy League tournament begins at Princeton November 13th. What a moment on senior day for this group of 11 seniors.